When I looked at the propositions in terms of the so-called desired amendments, I began singing Kumbaya, my Lord. And that tells you how much jubilant I could be. The question is whether or not these propositions or so much desired amendment are able to translate into reality. We may have wishes, and Samson, you're aware, coming from a good alma mater, which I am proud to represent, that if all wishes were horses, all beggars would ride. So I can assure you that in spite of much pleasure and good words, as they may appear on the paper, translating them into reality in a nation like Uganda will cause for deeper heights.
Well, that's very interesting. They are basically wishes that will never turn into horses. In the event that these bills are passed, if they end up being passed, how will they affect the roadmap to 2026, maybe and beyond?
That should be everyone's desire, and perhaps a wish, as we all agree. But what did Franklin D. Roosevelt say? Franklin D. Roosevelt said something interesting about good governance. Good governance should be able to be a test that translates those who have not to have more, but those who have not to have something substantial enough for them to have. Now, if we're talking about these issues and they're presented by the honorable gentleman, who is now a reincarnated moralist from, we all know where he came from. Now he has reincarnated himself with a moral turpitude to present and make arguments in terms of propositions that have to do with don't do this or don't do that. We all agree, but the question is that we're talking about a patronage-like society, politically patronage Uganda. Can we argue that these situations or these arguments can be translated into reality in terms of pragmatism, or are they wishes? Or is it something perhaps tactical in a way, because we have perhaps come to a term of a gentleman who has led for us for about 4 decades right now, and he's probably coming to late age, and now we are saying, okay, he's about to wind up, and we're preparing for someone younger and who probably, we know very well that things that will not augur well until we change certain things that have been itching the people. In my opinion, to use the trendy friend, that dog won't hunt, my brother.
Now, if I may, if you listen to Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister Norbert Mao, he says the fate of these is with President Yoweri Museveni. That's something. Do you have a line on that?
We all agree, and at the end of the day, you and I know that fundamentally all these things depend on the fountain of honor. Yes, I told you last time that sometimes the legislature becomes more executive-minded than the executive itself. And so the judiciary, many times the judiciary also becomes more executive-minded than the executive itself. But we're talking about a patronage society where we're talking about people who, at the end of the day, seek for self-appeasement. And these are rubber stamps. So we're talking about propositions that are represented to the founding governor, who founding governor has a structure, an organ on how he intends